Hey, welcome back. The second aspect that Master Swatmarama identifies in his text, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, as an aspect that will bring up great wild success into our yoga practice is a very straightforward one. It's called the resolve to do it. So find a firm resolve to do your practice. No surprise here, that's going to bring you success, is doing your practice. So how can we get motivated to do this? How can we build habits to do this? The first thing to think about, where I love to start, is a little dark for some people, but once you really get through it, it becomes this very beautiful light that is extremely inspirational and is extremely guiding. It's called death awareness. So if you know somebody who has maybe had a near-death experience, or if you yourself have had a near-death experience, it's a shaking experience where right after that you say, man, I'm so glad to be alive. I'm so grateful. So death awareness is this awareness that one day we will die, but we don't know when. That could be today, it could be tomorrow. So when you've had life almost slip out of your fingers, then all of a sudden you're like, man, what do I do with this beautiful gift that I have? So there's lots of ways that we can spend our time, but as yoga practitioners, we understand that one of the most beautiful ways to spend life entirely is through the practice of yoga, where our practice never ends. There's no beginning to our practice. There's no end to our practice. So when we realize that life is fleeting and we have to make the most of it while we got it, so how do we do that? Well, we do our yoga practice. And that's a nice foundational, intentional, motivational aspect to helping us have this firm resolve to do our practice. And then the next aspect is, don't set so high of expectations of what it means to do your practice that you don't do it. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to sit down and meditate for 1 hour today, but you haven't been meditating for the last 2 weeks, then you're going to feel like a failure and you're not going to have a strength in your resolve because you'll have this idea that you're a failure. But instead, if you say, you know what, I'm going to do at least 1 minute of meditation today. That's it, just at least one. Then when you fulfill that commitment, you plant this idea, you plant a seed in your mind that will then flower and say, man, I'm someone who keeps commitments. And it feels good to keep your commitments. It feels really good to fulfill a promise that you made yourself. We do ourselves no favors by making our promises unrealistic, but we do ourselves a huge favor by making them very achievable. That's not to say don't dream, but when we set up these ideas of we resolve to do a thing, we should make it so that it's at least a smart thing to agree to do, that we're going to do. Again, when we fulfill a commitment that we made, we create this momentum of having resolve to do a thing and doing a thing. So you're more likely to do the next thing you commit to because you already have this psychological momentum. You already have these seeds planted of seeing things become fulfilled. So have the motivation of a meaningful life, giving you the intention to make a resolution, and then do yourself the favor of fulfilling your commitments so that you begin to develop this strong identity of somebody who fulfills their commitments. Because then when you make the resolve to do your practice, then you'll actually do it. And of course, that will bring you wild success in your practice. So good luck, make commitments you can keep, and keep them. And I'll see you next time.